Hello and welcome to TBC, the Board Crew, episode 12. I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm Tony.
And tonight we are talking about
Celestia.
Ice Cool.
And Hamlet.
It's going to be a great show.
It's going to be fantastic. Let's get into it.
All right, so first game that we're talking about is Hamlet, the village building game. It's a game by David Cherkop and published by Mighty Boards. Hamlet is, I like to call it my first splotter. So, it's not actually a splotter game, but it reminds me a lot of splotter systems. This is a sort of polyomino combined village resource game. So you're going to be slowly building up the hamlet, and the aim in the hamlet is to build the church, and that allows you to become not a hamlet, but a village.
Okay.
And everyone wants to build the church together. So there are, depending on the number of players, 3 or 4 parts to the church that need to be built. Once they're built, that triggers the end of the game, and you tally up the amount of victory points. Lots of victory points come from helping build the church. And so you're going to be expanding the hamlet by, maybe adding a dairy or a bakery or maybe a lumber camp or maybe a sawmill so you can make better use of that stuff.
Right.
And each of these places will make various resources. Maybe they'll make some grain or some milk or, boards from the lumber. And so you're going to be making these resources so that you can build parts of the church and maybe some other buildings that give you better things. Hamlet has a couple of interesting things. One is it's a polyomino game, but none of the polyominoes are the same size. So it's a hex-based kind of grid, but you'll have really weird shapes. So one might be like a hex with a bit of a tail that sort of loops right round.
Okay, yeah.
And then the other one is kind of this giant wedge. And so it means that you can never build the village in a perfectly square fashion. It doesn't quite line up.
So it's not Tetris sort of shapes.
No, it's not Tetris. You're not going to get this to nicely lock in. You're going to have these weird holes and bits, which kind of represent like bits that the villagers can't get out to. They're just going to walk along these little roads to get to. And you're going to need to move goods with your donkeys. But the other interesting thing about Hamlet is when you produce goods, they are not your goods. So if I produce wood, it goes on the lumber camp, but then Tony can come in and use that wood for his own nefarious purposes. So he's like, I'm taking that wood to the sawmill. Yeah, awesome.
Communal wood.
Yeah, it's communal wood.
Right.
Everything's owned by the village. Some things you'll mark that you made. So often the second tier goods, so things like boards or ignits and milk. And so when you make those, you mark that you made them, but still everyone can use them.
Okay. So you're sort of trying to gain prestige by showing like, look what I've built for the village to use. That's how you're getting your victory points and such.
A little bit. Sometimes you're going to make stuff because you just desperately need it and you're hoping that no one else comes and takes it. So you're sort of gauging the board state and going, Tony's donkeys are all the way on the other side of the village and there's no way he's going to be able to transport this wood over to where he needs it. So I can make it now and I've got a turn or two before he can come and snatch it off me. So that will be fine. You'll also make it because when you make things, the village rewards you either in victory points or gold. And you're going to need gold. Like it's constantly going, I need more gold. You can use gold to hire more workers so you can take more turns on your turn because you get to have one turn per person that you have.
Right.
They can go to different places. So that can be another way. You're like, well, I'm going to make the wood with this person, move it with my donkeys here, and then make the wood into boards with this person, and then with this person, build this part of the church with the boards that I've now got.
So it becomes a bit Eurogamey in that sense.
Yeah,
you're putting your character, your meatballs in different spots.
Around. And you'll use gold to buy donkeys, and you need to be able to. The rule is if you're going to move a good, it has to get all the way to its destination. In that one thing.
Halfway.
Can't take it halfway. So you need enough donkeys, enough transport to get it wherever you want. So the interesting thing as you're building this village is normally you'd go, okay, well, we're building a village. I want, like, if I'm going to build a lumber mill, I'm going to put it right in the smack bang center of town so I get all this wood. But because I don't own the wood, I'm going to build it on the dodgiest part of town that I can.
Nearest
way
to
out the
me.
back.
No one else can get it.
That's right. And I'm going to like form this donkey line so that I can bring the wood in. And everyone else is like,
That's my trade route, not your trade route.
Yeah, pretty much. But then, like halfway through the game, you're like, "Oh crap, I need wheat." And Tony's built that like in this other little backwater section.
Right.
There's also other kind of buildings you can build. Like you can build like a park, which you get more points the more forests are bordering it. And so then you might plonk it near someone else's area and go, "Come on, I'm dare you to build around this little bit." Some of those you get points if you can deliver some resources to them. So you want them kind of close.
Yeah.
And you also have the ability to turn wood and rocks into bridges and paths to make extra roads. So Tony 40 had this awesome sort of long, winding, twisting path outside the villages of city. And then I'm just kind of like, well, I'm just cutting across that mountain pass that you had to block everything.
Gotcha.
And now we've got a highway. And so I can like ship your milk out. And
now I'm null and void.
Yeah. When your secondary resources, like those higher tier resources, are used, you gain a benefit. So if you made milk and someone uses your milk, or you made a board, someone uses the board, you get a benefit of that. And that will depend on how much you've kind of invested in being the board maker or the milk maker or so on. There's also various achievements, first person to make a board, first person to make milk, first person to build this kind of building, all those little things. And so you're just trying to get as many points as you can before the church is finished.
But you can trigger the end of the game at any point by pushing to build the church.
Yeah. The church is a significant amount, so the village is going to have to grow. Another thing you're using your money for is buying new tiles to put out to build. But all of these tiles cost resources as well. So you're paying money for kind of the blueprint, if you like, so you can use that. But then you're like, well, wherever I place this in the village, I have to be able to get maybe 1 wheat and 2 stone to that location to be able to build this. So that also forces you to kind of work with other people a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, even though someone does have this monopoly on a particular resource, well, they don't, because everyone can move it. And then suddenly you're building in their territory and going, look, I've built this wonderful X. Some buildings, when you build them, they're just a new utility that everyone can use. Other buildings, you'll mark that you built that. And at the end of the game, that'll be worth a certain number of points, depending on other factors. So it might be other buildings that are near it, or the amount of buildings total, or if there was at least
2 of this building. Or
whatever.
Yep,
those kind of things. Yeah, I find Hamlet really quite interesting. It takes a little bit to get your head around everything that you build is not yours.
Yeah.
Ironically, I think this game, although it's on the heavier side, it's not super crunchy, but does take some thought. People that haven't played a lot of games don't struggle with it as much. Because if you've played lots of Euros and stuff, you're used to
You're used to a certain way that a Euro goes. Yeah.
Whereas if you haven't played a huge amount of games, and I just tell you, okay, well, when the wood's there, that's everyone's wood, and people go, okay, yeah, sure, that's everyone's wood.
Yep.
But if you're,
no, I made that wood. That's my wood. You cannot take this wood.
That's not how this works. I should get to keep these pieces.
No, we're building village together.
Yeah.
Not building your own. So going off of that, actually, building a village together. So this is a communal board in the middle between everyone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's no separate board. The only separate bits that you have is your separate workers and your separate donkeys that you're getting, which you're going to be hiring out or paying to get more of. And then you'll have your collection of blueprints, but you're only allowed to have 3 blueprints at once.
So you can't monopolize again.
So you can't just monopolize them all. And, that it really doesn't help you a lot to have a lot of blueprints sitting. There's no penalty at the end of the game if you haven't built your blueprints, but it is a wasted sort of turn that you've spent buying these blueprints and then not putting them out. But sometimes I have seen people hate draft and go, wow, Tony, you would love that building to be built in the village, wouldn't you? I'm just going to put that in my blueprint pile and it's never moving.
Right. Lovely. Yeah. I've been building grain this whole time to make the farm for the dairy farm, and you take the dairy farm from me. Now I can't build it.
Yep. And that can sit for a long time. Right. Then also it's got an interesting thing of like the tiles for the the building come out of a bag. But as certain buildings are built, you add more tiles into the bag. So it makes, for instance, like if there's a building that requires milk to operate, you don't add that into the bag until the dairy's built so that there can be milk flowing around the village.
Right. Okay.
So it means that all of the buildings are always useful in some sense, or it can be utilized. You're not going to get sort of a building that you're like, oh, well, our village doesn't have any wood, so like this timber yard's pretty useless.
Yeah.
And the village also starts with a few like basic buildings. Yeah, I really quite like it. Plays 1 to 4, and it says 25 minutes per player. I reckon half hour per player, you'll get away with it without too much trouble.
So four player game, 2 hours.
Yep. You know, even if you don't win at the end, you kind of feel like you've contributed to the village. So,
well, yeah, you sort of sounds like you've made something together. So at least you have that sort of thing going.
yeah,
Lovely.
that's Hamlet.
Okay, next game we're going to be talking about is called Ice Cool. This is a dexterity game. I think it's the first one we've had on the channel.
Maybe. I mean, we do play dexterity games. We just don't talk
We
about
don't
them,
talk about.
apparently.
You don't talk about dexterity games. It's the dump stat. That's why I'm terrible at dexterity games, but I love them all the same. Designed by Brian Gomez and published by Brain Games, 1 to 4 players. This game is you are penguins, and one of you is a hall monitor. The other players are
Playing hooky.
yeah, playing hooky. Kids in class who are like, you know what? Let's go get our lunch early. We're going to go get our fish, which is hanging on the doorways for some reason.
It's a relatable theme.
It
Penguins skipping school to get fish,
Yeah.
avoiding a hall monitor.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're flicking these penguins around while the hall monitor's going, hang on a minute, you're supposed to be in class. I'm going to try and come and catch you right now. So, premise of the game, yeah, you start off in one location, hall monitor's on the other side of the map, and then each of you take turns to flick your penguin to try and get through doors and slide around the map to slide through and pick up your 3 fish before you all get caught by the hall monitor. Now, cool thing about this game, the box is the map. So you open up the box and the lid, oh no, maybe not the lid, but the base and then 4 other parts all make up a square map.
It's like a box of boxes that you kind of Russian doll out.
Yeah.
But then you clip them all together and you've suddenly got this 3D map with hallways and little things to run through.
Yeah, a babushka board of map is probably the best way to put it.
I mean, I get this is probably confusing. I would just look up a picture of it because I don't think we can describe the 3D-ness of it.
Yeah, basically it's 4 rectangles all touching each other and then a square in the middle to create a big square. So then there's doorways that connect. It's really easy to put together. They have these little fish pieces that you put, like white ones to connect the board together, then your color ones to put over doorways that you got to try and get to.
They almost look like pegs.
Yeah. But
like they're pretty much pegs that have been slightly shaped to fish.
Just tapered to be a fish. But it's a lot of fun, and like when you start flicking these penguins around, the sound is so satisfying. It's like as it just slides across the board. I don't know if they intended to do that.
I mean, the penguins they are weighted on the bottom.
Yeah, correct.
So they've kind of got like a metal piece
inside the plastic.
Yeah, inside the plastic. That's at the bottom, and it's one of those like punching clowns. That you can hit the top and it'll wobble, but it'll always come back upright.
Yeah, one of those kids really like boxing bags, where you put water in the bottom so it comes straight back up to you or whatever. You flick these your penguin around the map. You can make it do turns and everything depending where you flick it. It can turn, or if you get good enough and you flick it hard enough, it hurts. But you can flick it in the head and it can actually flip over walls to get yourself out of a tight situation.
I mean, I've seen it done, but I'm still not sure how it's possible.
My son can do it. I struggle to do it. Yeah, he always catches me with it and it drives me insane considering that he is a 5-year-old. And it's like, is this what you're doing all day while I'm at work? You're just flicking these penguins, making sure you can beat me? But yeah, so everyone gets turned as the hall monitor. Everyone gets turned as being the student playing hooky. And then if you get all your fish, you get cards at the end of that round. And each of them will have a representation of 1, 2, or 3 on it to say how many fish you actually grabbed from each doorway. And the hall monitor will get cards depending how many people's hall cards he can collect, which you all have your own hall card. Person at the end of all the rounds of everyone having a turn as hall monitor and student wins, basically. Nice, quick, light game, lots of fun, very easy to get into, very quick to set up. I've played this, as I said, like mainly with my kids. I have played this with adults as well, and it can get aggressively competitive depending on the people you're with. But at the end of the day, it's just a lot of fun just flicking these things around, having a laugh. It's the old school mentality of like, I'm going to get you. I've got this lined up, flick, and they just miss you. And then you're just talking smack with each other and having a great time.
Definitely. I've played this at CanCon. I've seen it come out at CanCon a number of times, and it always draws a bit of a crowd because it does look amazing having this like 3D fish school for penguins.
Yeah. This 3D map that everyone's flicking stuff around.
Yeah, and everyone's flicking. There's a lot of cheering, and just the way that those penguins move. You were talking about the sound, but even just the motion of they've got this wonderful sort of gliding, and like I said, you can actually go around a corner intentionally, because
or unintentionally,
and
still act
often
like you meant
unintentionally.
it.
Yep. And watching people trying to learn how to get through a doorway and just failing horribly and ricocheting, back up a corridor.
It's like if you were playing pool and you just smash the white ball around. Like sometimes you flick as hard, just pings around the room you're in, doesn't get anywhere.
Yep.
The good thing is in the instruction manual as well, they actually tell you if you flick it this way, it will do this. So it's not like the learning curve isn't like figure it out yourself. It gives you the instructions. It's not easy.
No.
But they at least tell you, look, flick it this way and you should make it flip or turn left, right, straight. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they've actually put a lot of effort into those penguin pieces.
Yeah.
To make them like the whole game rests on the different ways you can flick those penguins. Now, this still would have been fun if you just had a disc that looked like with a penguin face on it.
Like Croconolas on the that sort of thing.
That'd still be fun flicking that round, but they've actually put a lot of effort into making these pieces that will change the way you can play the game and bring a skill and spectacle to it that is not normally in flicking games.
No, like they have definitely, the whole game, as you said, does revolve around that penguin. And it does seem like, they've really focused on that because, just the way they've made sure it glides well, like just like everything about it, it's very satisfying. I highly recommend it. Like this, if you haven't got a dexterity game, this is one of the ones I definitely say to grab. I don't think it's very expensive. Don't quote me on that though. I think I got it or picked it up for like $30 at the time. That could have been on sale. Very quick internet search has told me this is $36 online.
That's Australian dollary dues.
That's Australian dollary dues, yeah. That's some $bucks for those Bluey listeners. Has also revealed to me there's an Ice Cool 2. So I haven't played that one. I'll have to get that one and we'll review it another time.
Yeah, I haven't played that one.
Very quick. Yeah, this is super professional on the podcast. It looks exactly the same to the point that it is exactly the same.
Cool. So get either Ice Cool or Ice Cool 2.
Pretty much.
Both of them will be fine.
Yeah. And that's Ice Cool. Well, yeah, quick review on very quick checking into the Ice Cool 2. It does look almost identical. Maybe the decorations are just a little bit more vibrant. Maybe they've upgraded the pieces to flick a little bit nicer. I don't know how they would have done that, but I don't know. Pick up one or two. Have a good time. Let us know if it was any different if you've had both.
That's Ice Cool and Ice Cool 2.
Ice Cool and very quick Ice Cool 2.
Final game we're talking about this episode is Celestia by Aaron Weisblum.
Yeah.
Weisblum. Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah.
It's a great game. Yeah. And published by Blam. Blam. It's even got an exclamation point at the end of it. So Blam.
It's not a subtle blam.
No.
Jumping onto your table near you.
Celestia is a push your luck dice hand management game.
Yep.
I guess. The theme is you are all sort of Victorian era, I guess. Everyone
Yeah.
looks a bit Victorian in it.
Victorian era pioneers, steampunk style.
Going on a wonderful airship on a trip to some cloud islands. Like, huh? The theme makes less sense the more I think about this, actually.
It's a beautiful game. Whoever did the artistry, it's lovely.
Well, I can tell you who did the art.
Maybe
yeah.
it's Mr. Weisblum.
No, it's...
Oh, okay, I'm going to butcher this one. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
The art is by Gaetan Noir. I'm going to go with that as his name.
I like the last
Or their name.
Noir.
Noir. I could have that completely wrong. I'm sorry
Yep.
if I have. But I do love your artwork.
Your
either way.
art is amazing. It does have really beautiful sort of steampunky, but not... It's more whimsical steampunk than what
Yeah, like
you
a
would normally-
dreamy steampunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost steampunk meets Dixit.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
played
that's
Dixit,
what I was just
it's-
thinking. I'm like,
yeah.
it feels Dixity.
Yeah, it's a very whimsically nice.
The adjective word of Dixit.
The whimsical game. But this is Celestia. And it's not even that much about the art, because what you're going to do is each turn the airship is going to move forward, and one player at the table, it's going to rotate around, will be the captain for that turn. Depending on how far they are into the journey, they'll have to roll a certain number of dice. And these dice have a number of sides. They could be blank, which means smooth sailing, nothing happened. But there might be lightning, striking the airship. There could be clouds or fog getting in your way so you can't see where you're going. There could be evil birds. They're like giant crows that are attacking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cutting edge technology airship. I'm sure birds would disrupt that somehow.
Yeah, the birds are bad. Don't run into the birds.
Magpies. They're magpies. They're
Yep.
swooping at us.
Oh, magpies. Yeah,
Yeah.
That now I see
If
why
you're in
they're
Australia,
actually
you
dangerous.
understand what we're talking about.
And there's pirates, which are
Yes.
also obviously bad.
Which I don't know how we have air pirates in this. Anyway, it doesn't
We're
matter.
not the only one with airships, I guess.
Apparently.
And the pirates seem to be better at airshipping than we are. But you're also going to have a hand of cards, and those cards are predominantly going to be either something that gets rid of clouds, something that deals with lightning, something that scares away birds, and a big cannon that can fire at pirates.
Fight off those
And
pirates.
sadly, the cannon can't scare away the birds. But,
Which doesn't make sense.
I
but
guess
that's fine.
not. You need a scarecrow to scare away the birds.
Yeah.
So for each thing that the captain has rolled, they need to play those cards. But what will happen is I'll roll the dice, and let's say I bring up a lightning and a cloud. Before I play those cards, everyone at the table has to decide whether they think I have the cards to deal with that crisis. Can this captain guide our ship through these clouds and lightning?
Or are we jumping ship and
Yeah.
getting out of Dodge before he continues the journey?
Yeah, pretty much. So they're your options. You can be like, I'm with you, Captain.
Yeah.
Or I'm off. And so you jump
So,
off at whatever island you're at, and then you get some points based on the island you got on. The further you can go, the bigger the points.
Hence the
You know,
push your luck.
So it's that constant thing. You're looking Tony dead in the eyes going, do you have 2 lightning? Are you going to make it? Tony's just trying to be as stoic as possible, just like, maybe. Because
Yeah,
if
it's
the captain's
hard
going
if you
down,
don't have
they
it.
want everyone to stay on that ship, and then you all crash and die.
But wow.
Well, not die, you just reset.
yeah, you just reset back.
I don't know, it's multiple lives. You just, your clone respawns and goes on the next wonderful
Something
journey.
like that, yeah.
However, if they make it, the captain really wants everyone else to jump off so the captain can keep going for a little while. You're not allowed to jump off if you're the captain.
You go down with the ship if you're the captain.
But there are special cards. So you might have ones like a jetpack, which means even after the ship crashes, yeah, I'm staying with you, Tony. Tony crashes, you're like, I'm jetpacking off and
See
gently
you,
landing
Captain.
on this island and I'll be safe. There's strong winds card, which means if the person rolls blanks, you can be like, pick them back up and roll again. It's going to be bad for you.
Which is just, that's such a bugger of a card. You're like, yes. And someone's like, no. Like, what? Why would you do that?
Well, usually because they've got off a couple of islands ago and they're like, I really want this thing to crash
Yeah,
now.
they call the power of the gods 2 islands up. Like, come on, man, bring him down.
Take them down.
Yeah.
There's turbos that let you like scoot past any potential hazards and dangers. They're like wild cards
Yep.
that you can use for anything. There's also interesting ones of You can tie up another passenger and chuck them off the ship, even if they wanted to stay on.
Make someone get off.
Forcibly evict them.
Yeah.
And alternative route cards, which allow you to re-roll dice of your choosing. So as opposed to the hard knocks, hard wind card that makes you re-roll dice that you don't want to, the alternative route lets you re-roll the ones that you would like to re-roll.
Let's keep those blanks. Let's roll the other ones that we can't take care of.
Yeah. The interesting thing about Celestia is there's a rarity in the types of cards. So clouds are the most common, followed by lightning, followed by birds, and pirates are the hardest to deal with. So that adds another element because someone might roll for it. And as you get to the last stages, you're rolling sort of 5 dice.
Yeah.
And so there could be a lot of hazards. And your hand size is also quite variable because when you're the captain, you have to pay those cards. And you only get new cards after the ship crashes.
Yeah. You want to hope to be the captain early a lot of times. And then so that if you're at endgame, you can be the captain hopefully towards the end and you've got this big tableau of cards to save yourself with if you can.
Yeah. But at the same token, you might be like, well, like I've got tons and tons of clouds.
Yeah, but this is all lightning and birds.
Yeah, but I've got no birds.
Yeah.
And that can be hilarious too because you can look at someone, they roll 3 blanks and 1 bird and they're holding like 16 cards in their hand. Oh, well, Tony's got this. And everyone around the table's like staying in. And then Tony's nah. And the ship goes down.
I can think of a specific time that happened. It was early one night. We're all playing. Everyone else hopped off, and it was Bronson and I as the last 2 on the ship, and he was captain. And he like rolled, and it was like a lightning and a bird, I think it was. And I looked at his hand, and I looked him in the eye. Like everyone was like, "Out, out, out!" And I went, "I'm staying with you." He's like, "You staying with me?" He's like, "You're with me for the show." I'm like, "Yeah, let's do this." And he filled me with all this confidence. He's like, "Yeah, let's keep going because we're going down." I went, "No!" I trusted him so hard. It was so good.
Yeah.
And it's just that fun of, yeah, cool, I think we got it. No, you just don't know as the passenger. It's great.
And even that forced disembark card is really funny when the captain rolls all blanks, which means they're auto going to pass. And everyone's, oh, yeah, I'm staying in. And then, no, you're not. Yeah. You're getting out.
You get out. You've gone too far too many times. You're getting too many points.
You're winning. Yeah. Victory points are hidden. There's sort of a variable amount of points you'll get on each island. So you're never quite sure when someone's winning. And there's an interesting, even the victory condition is push your luck. So you can announce directly at the end of a run, I have at least 50 points. I think I'm going to win. Let's stop it right now, which is risky because then everyone else gets to continue their flight.
Yeah.
Or you can announce at the start of the next round, I have enough points to win. Let's see how we go.
I've gotten to the end enough. I think I've got this, but someone who's gone 2/3 of the way a couple of times could really outdo it. Yeah, each island has a value on it, but it says 3+ or 5+. So you know the minimum you're going to get jumping off that island. But I might jump off at the 3+. You might jump off at the 5+. And I'll get 6 and you'll get 5, but we don't know. And we're, okay, cool. Sweet, I should have more than Tony, but didn't get it. And it was like, oh, as you said, it's a hidden thing. It's that surprise.
The last 2 islands are always set, I think they're 25 and 15. Yeah. But if you get 25 points out of a 50-point game, it doesn't happen very often. And often when someone gets, they now have a target on their back.
Yeah, and we're very lucky with their rolls because to get to that, when you get into those last couple of islands, especially if you're the captain like 3 islands away, nearly everyone will jump off and go, you can't do this. You've got a hand of 4 and you're rolling 5 dice. No. And you roll like all these blanks and 1 bird and you're like, yes, I keep going. And then you're like, oh, I'm the captain. What can I do now? You have to just keep going. It's like you don't have a choice.
If you are the only person left and you're the captain, you can choose not to roll the next part and disembark.
If there's one other person with you,
you're stuck. You're captaining. And sometimes you will see people jump off because they know they're going to be captain next round and they will die. Well, I'm getting off now because I've got 2 cards and I'm going to roll 4 dice.
Yeah, I can't do it, so
I think you can do it, but I'm off.
One thing I like about it as well, there's a little ship that you actually all put your meeples into and that travels between the island. It's a not needed item, but I love they put it in there. It's the bird feeder in Wingspan or something like that.
Yeah, it is a nice 3D actual cardboard creation of a ship that's quite sturdy and holds all the little wooden meeples and you send them along. And it also is very visual. You can go look and go, oh, there's only 2 of us left in this boat.
Yeah. So you know who is in and who is out, who's landed where. Everything is very public knowledge.
That's Celestia.
All right, well, that was 3 great games. That was Hamlet, Ice Cool, and Celestia. Ben, as always, we got the choice. We got the whole team together. What game would you like to play straight after this?
These are all good. Are we playing it right now? Or
Time is a construct at the moment.
Yeah,
So
like if it was right after this
if it was
recording,
games night, like we're hitting games night, let's go with that.
I reckon I'd love to get back into Hamlet again. Another shot at that. It's just always throws a weird curveball at me, and there's not much that I've played that's like Hamlet.
Hamlet does sound very cool. I was going to say Hamlet as well. Because you said it, I'm going to go with Celestia. No, Hamlet.
I don't think you can make this.
Well, I'm just going to make my little dairy farm over here. You can't take my stuff. No, Hamlet sounds very cool. It sounds like so like everyone building a village together, but being petty of like, no, I'm going to be the best person in this village. You're not going to be the best person. I like the sound of it very much.
It is great.
Well, that was episode 12 of TBC, The Board Crew. We hope to get bored with you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
This has been The Board Crew. Hey, thanks for listening. You can join the conversation by rolling the dice or just rolling over to our socials. Just search The Board Crew on Facebook.
Blam.
Blam.
Blam. And the dirt is gone.
Oh my God.
Although that's bam, isn't it?
Easy off bam. Yeah.
Yeah.